excuse me, no headphones because I'm going to lock the seats for the first 15 minutes or so because I have some content to deliver. I'm not sure if you guys know, if you haven't tuned into this blab in the past, the thing I've been doing lately is actually going through and delivering content for like 15 minutes. And today it's all about the chores and the home productivity and all the stuff that gets me out of my comfort zone. And then I got to say, I don't know, Jeff, if you're comfortable saying this or not, but we had an awesome interview today, man. And Jeff should be hosting this because he's hectic dad. He's got 8 kids and he taught me so much about home productivity routines today. And I was just completely just blown away by all the systems and the processes. I'm like, Jeff, you're so much more of a geek than I am at this home productivity stuff, but I'm going to do my best to deliver some good stuff tonight. So thanks again for joining. Got the recording going on. So this is a special edition of the Make a Happy Productivity Show. Once a week, we get on Blab. I get on Blab and deliver some content through the audience. And today it's going to be about how to spend time with family. All right, I said chores, but honestly, this is about how to spend time with family because it's all about productivity on purpose, with purpose, and still get stuff done around the house. So I gotta say, I get pumped up about weekends at my house, right? So we'll be back when I worked for corporate America, I'd come home after a long week's work. I'd be all pumped up for the weekend. There's people that we can hang with. There's events going on, especially during the summertime. Thinking about like all these dreams of like family picnics at the park, s'mores over campfires, like so many different things to do, right? And then it seemed like almost like clockwork. I'd stroll in after a hard week's worth of work, and my wife would say something like, "Oh yeah, remember you promised to clean the shower or finish that remodeling project in the kitchen or pressure wash the fence," or all these like different things I need to do around the house. And for me, I was like, man, all I wanted to do was spend some time with the family, spend some time with the kids. So I'd be sitting there like, okay, well, yeah, that's right. I forgot about that. And I'd sink into this brief moment of like self-pity and I'd complain a little bit. And finally, I just suck it up and I mentally prepare to be the in-house handyman. And that's kind of how the weekends go sometimes. But it doesn't mean that it's all wasted. There's still opportunities to spend time with the family. So if you guys know that I'm really like adept at work productivity type stuff, but with the home routine things, I've been meshing those recently and trying to figure out like how do you develop systems and processes and stuff like that to make everything streamlined, not only at work but at home. So instead of doing things like when you have chores over the weekends, all these different things that come around on the weekend, especially if you're an employee, because you don't really necessarily have time is not your own because you're working somewhere, you're going to someplace for 8, 9, 10, 12, God forbid, 14 hours a day, and you come home and you're tired, and then you got to work all weekend on just different stuff that goes on around the house. So when really do you have that time, that quality time? So instead of like putting the kids in front of the TV all weekend while you do housework and your projects, why not get them involved? Now, before you just like even consider just the whole chore thing, I mean, ideally, the plan would be to outsource your chores. But if you're not in the position to do that stuff, and by the way, if I was going to outsource anything, if I had some chores that I really wanted to outsource, and I do outsource some of them, but cleaning toilets, if that was my responsibility, I'd totally outsource the cleaning toilet things. That's all I'd really need. I could do floors, I could dust, but cleaning toilets just not really my thing. So how do you spend quality time with your family and still get stuff done around the house? So I got 4 different suggestions I'd like to offer you guys and hopefully open up for discussion later in the blab. So 1, let them help. And when I talk about just letting them help, and Jeff, it's ironic because Jeff's on, you talked about this, and I should have mentioned that I actually had this blog post going on about letting your kids help you with these different projects and chores around the house. But I got 3 children, all under the age of 7. One's just a little bit over a month old. I think you guys know that. And when I have like a project that's going on around the house, I try to get them involved as much as possible. Like Jeff and I were talking about today, it takes longer and it takes creativity and it takes planning to get your kids involved with the house projects, like the different things that you want to do. Because one, like if you're doing a house project, I was recently doing this corner bench for a breakfast nook that I had, and I had a lot of dangerous power tools and things that the kids could have got hurt with. But I really consciously wanted them to be involved because they wanted to learn. They have questions. Instead of just blowing them off and putting them in front of the TV, I said, okay, guys, there's things that you could do. So I had my pneumatic nailer, and I had Carter, my oldest, and even Ethan, my middle child. we go up and we nail in, the trim work for this bench, and I let them pull the trigger. I'd hold the pneumatic nail and I let them hold the trigger, and they were just blown away and just like falling in love with this simple act. And it's like if you take the time to think about how your kids can do these different projects with you and incorporate them in the system, you're going to get your chores done. They're going to take longer, but they're going to learn so much. So letting them help is crucial. The other thing I did with the breakfast nook thing is they were my hole fillers. So that pneumatic nailer makes a lot of holes, and I let them come in there and fill them all up. So I thought that was pretty cool. And they were like the best hole fillers I could ever imagine. So let them help with projects is the number one tip. The number two tip is give them something that they can own. This is along the mindset of just chores. So I love it when I'm teaching the kids something new, because when they're engaged and they're asking to help, they're totally focused and they're totally willing to help, which is like not really the MO for small kids. So, you have the kids coming in and it's a seemingly boring chore, and they'll come in and just bring it new life and vigor, So if we have a bunch of chores to do around the house, one of the easiest chores that I've found, if you wanted to outsource, if you want to call it that, to the kids, is sweeping. So it's a 2-man job. And when they're sweeping, one has the broom, one has the dustpan, and I emphasize the importance of teamwork. So they get to work, they get to learn how to work as a team. One holds dustpan, one sweeps, and it's like a collaborative thing. And they're learning like this, that's their responsibility. So we sweep up the kitchen, and they go and they do it and they own it. And they actually have a lot of engagement that way because they've asked to be involved, help out some way. The other thing that's really good for little guys is cleaning windows. It's really hard to mess up cleaning windows. And for some reason, they just love squirt bottles. That's just something that's always fascinated kids. That's one thing that I think is pretty helpful. So letting them, giving them a part of the project, letting them for chores, letting them own a chore, like something that's completely their responsibility. And the third piece of advice that I'd offer is to make it a game. So my kids love contests. And one thing that we do sometimes when we're doing chores is setting timers and figuring out, maybe little prizes to kind of push them along the way. It can be something as simple as like a popsicle or a free cookie at the grocery store, or even like a sticker on a little bulletin board that says they did a good job. And one thing when the kids really, really like it with the timer is when I set the timer and they try to beat the clock on picking up all their toys. So stuff like that's going around. There's constant cleaning and stuff like this. There's ways you can take the time to think about it and give them something to do. I mean, it's going to take more time, like I said, but it's so worth it. It's so, so worth it. So just not having the and don't just aimlessly just do your weekend and try to get all these different things done and leave the kids by their lonesome. I mean, we have responsibility as parents, and I just recommend doing everything we possibly can to get them involved in these sort of things. The last thing I said is just giving. The last piece of advice is giving them incentives for doing really good quality work. That can be effective in many cases, but this is also a slippery slope, right? Because you can have this expectations that you create that every time they do anything around the house, there's like a reward on the opposite end. So for me, I like to give the incentives a little bit sparingly, but one of my favorite rewards to give the kids is like one-on-one time. So if, they're doing something good around the house, helping out the house, the household, Nisach and I we reward them with one-on-one time. They love going to, one of my kids just keeps mentioning over and over, he wants me to take laser tags. So laser tags is this big thing. It probably costs maybe $8 to do it. Not that big of an investment, and it gets them amped up. So there's things like that when it's a big project and we really need their help and we really need them to pitch in and help out the house, then that's one of the things that I would offer up for a suggestion. So again, it's a quick content delivery on Wednesday night, and I'm just stoked to see what you guys are up to. Nisach just stepped in the room, and she's here, and she's not on the camera, but maybe you can go behind me. I don't know how everything works. But so I'll open up the floor now. I'll unlock the seats and see who wants to call in and see what you guys are all about. Thanks so much for, checking out the Blab tonight. Unlocking seats now. Feel free to call in. So we got Lindsay's on, we got Jeff's on, Roy's on, Deb's on. We got the Blab crew, and Nisach is behind me. You haven't seen Nisach for a while because she had a baby just a little over a month ago. So there's Deb. Love it. Accepting Deb. And Brittany's on. I didn't even see Brittany there. Hey, Deb, how you doing?
Oh my gosh, I've been so busy.
Can I? Oh, you know what? I don't have my headphones in. Hold on, I forgot all about that. Yeah, how do we do that with two? Hold on, I gotta fix the sound.
All right.
System preferences, output. I was totally unprepared for that. I'm like, oh, I don't need headphones. I'm not gonna hear anything. Output, internal speakers.
I find that hard to
There
believe.
it is. I was just winging. I didn't have my GarageBand started. Let me see. Click anywhere to close the sidebar. So here's the thing about Blab. If I have this like gray screen right now, it says click anywhere to close the sidebar, and I know that Blab's one of those platforms that if I click the wrong thing, I could shut it down and have to reopen the Blab or something. So I got to be very careful what I do. Click anywhere to close the sidebar. And says, do you see the sidebar? What is the sidebar? I don't know. Okay, well,
is it this right here?
Maybe, but Brittany's calling in. Brittany is smile like Buddha. Do we need a chair for you or something like that?
Yeah, you're gonna hang.
Probably won't.
Oh, there she is. Okay, yeah, here we go.
Baby doesn't.
Got it.
Cry.
Accept.
I have to go feed the baby in a little bit.
Yeah, you want to
I'll go get a stool.
Okay, a stool. Or maybe I should be a good husband and give her the good chair, and I should take the stool. What do you think?
Well, it's up to you.
Yeah. All right, Brittany, I'm trying to accept you. I'm not sure, not accept you into the group, but just accept your call. So I'm not sure what's happened. Every time I click on you, it seems to be like hanging up. So I don't know if it's a connection thing or whatever. But yeah, here we go. So Deb, how have you been?
It's been a little bit nutty.
You're in another location. I'm not used to seeing you outside the office.
This is my beach house.
Wow, I love it. Love the beach house.
Yeah, it's a really nice house actually, and it's much more than what I have at home. That's my.
Are you on
house.
vacation?
Well, no, I'm getting the house ready, and so what I do is I sit at the dining room table. By the way, and I've got everything spread out, all my folders, like my my podcast folder, my coaching folder, my this folder, my that folder. I'm working on that organizational stuff, and it's been driving me a little nutty, but I'm almost done kind of really putting everything. I want to have everything like one thing for each, like, I don't know. One is my professional stuff or professional development, which is the classes I'm taking. And then I want to have another one for the podcast and another one for the coaching. And then a couple other sub things. So yeah. So anyway, and I just was at a seminar last weekend, and plus I don't even know if I've talked to you really much since I did Greg's too. So
I don't think so.
I've been like coached to death. Seriously.
No, wait, no, you talked to me after Greg's. You told me about the whole ecosystem feeding each other and all that kind of stuff. So yeah.
So now this one was another one on but there's on vitality and wellness with a woman named Alexandra Jameson, who's she wrote a book called Supersize Me, and then her other book is really cool in the statue, it's called Women, Food, and Desire.
Oh.
So she does these cravings cleanses, and I'm in the middle of doing a toxic 6 cleansing. Oh. Yeah. So I'm giving everything up. It's horrible. No, it's actually good.
What was it called again?
It's called, the book is called Women, Food, and Desire.
Okay.
And she's really, really awesome. So 9 women descended upon her rented Airbnb space in New York. This kind of gives you ideas of things you could do. So she rents space in New York and has these people all come fly in as part of the program. Yeah. And then we spend 2 full days together, and she brings in all these experts. And she brought in these really cool people. It was so much fun. And we cried a lot. There was a lot of crying. It was a bunch of women.
I see.
So we do
for that.
Jeff's calling in here, man.
So anyway.
So here's Jeff. There he is.
No.
This is Mr. He should just lead the rest of the blab, Jeff. I can just let you just take over from here. What do you think?
He was what's the word? You were I'm trying to think of the word.
Oh, there's Lindsay. What's up?
What's the word where you
everybody's
you're bragging? That's what I'm trying to blank. He was bragging about you.
I was bragging about you. Yeah, definitely.
He was like, he's got all these routines, and he's got this like these checkouts. When you have employees, they're in or out, and with your kids, and who carpools, and how far the radius is, and
it's going to be an incredible episode, and actually, it's going to be airing pretty quick. I'm actually swapping him with another that actually canceled on me last minute. I was supposed to record today, and she canceled. So Jeff, you're actually going to be like, I think Tuesday night you're going to come on. Now. So I'm getting on it. Yeah, so it's gonna be a good one. And I did start seeing your email. I know you gave me a lot of recap type stuff, but I haven't read it all yet because there's a lot there.
Good.
But thanks
it's
so much
nice
for doing that. And Lindsay's on. How you doing, Lindsay? Yeah, it's good seeing you. So does everybody know everybody? Why don't we just do a quick introduction?
No.
Do a quick introduction.
Yeah, I don't know Lindsay, but I've heard. I've met Jeff. It's Jeff, right?
Yep.
Yeah.
Mr. Hectic Dad.
Hectic Dad. I know you as Hectic Dad. I'm Debbie Williams.
And everybody here's on. Everybody's in POP, so we got that connection. So that's cool. And I'm sorry, Brittany. I'm not sure what happened. I'm not sure if you're still with us, but
my name's
so
Lindsay
Debbie
Roush.
and Lindsay?
I am currently working on remodeling
Lindsay.
our 100-plus-year-old home and getting our hobby farm spring set up.
Oh, that's awesome.
Yeah, really.
Oh my gosh.
Yeah, 2 horses
That sounds like a lot of
and
You have
3
2
cows
horses,
that just
right?
showed up last week.
They just wander in, or
Oh, wow.
And
Oh my gosh.
yeah.
This is my home,
They're
they
home
said.
for a couple of years.
very cool. And you're near Purdue, right? West Lafayette.
West of Purdue.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, my dad's a bowler. Okay. Yeah, my dad. I've been just growing up with Purdue. He played football for Purdue back in '69, I think. So.
Oh, that's
Yeah,
cool.
so I'm a little bit familiar with that area.
Yep.
And Jeff's in
And
Kansas,
only have,
Mr. Hectic
like,
Dad.
yelling going on in the other part of the house right now. So it's typical 3, 4, 5 of the kids are here. So.
And I learned today.
Oh, this is fun. Everybody's all over the place.
I like
I'm
the
in
beach.
North Carolina right now at the beach.
And what, Myrtle Beach or
Yeah, which beach?
I'm at Emerald Isle,
Oh.
which is
Cool.
it's above Camp Lejeune. Is one way of looking at it, and I'm in the southern Outer Banks. I'm below Ocracoke by probably 80 miles or something, or 60 miles. I don't even know, but yeah, it's kind of on the way. It's between Ocracoke and.
So you do a lot of drill sergeant work too
No,
on
but
the
on the
side.
mainland.
Is that?
Right by the mainland. Oh
Yeah.
my gosh, the sounds of freedom. They're always out, you sometimes
Yeah.
think it's a thunderstorm and it's actually them, doing maneuvers.
Oh, wow.
wow?
So we can hear all that stuff. Yeah, it's kind of interesting.
That is interesting.
But yeah.
So what did you?
Sorry, I had to just go to kitchen.
That's fine. It's go ahead.
Yeah.
It's casual.
You're at home.
Don't worry, it's Perrier, folks.
Perrier,
It's
definitely.
Perrier. Yeah, right. Well,
So what do you guys know? Lindsay, you have horses, so horses are your kids and you have animals and stuff like that. But I mean, what do you guys think about getting your kids involved with chores? What's your thoughts on that? And maybe just chores overall and home routines. Jeff, I know I don't want to spoil it. I'll let you go ahead and you can reiterate a lot of things we talked about on the podcast.
Oh, well, it's going to be Tuesday, so I think it's essential to have your kids involved.
As you know, I told Nick earlier, I don't have any 2-legged children. The closest thing I have is a 6-year-old yellow lab who thinks he is our only child, and I'm pretty sure if we had any other kids, he would have a problem because he gets jealous of the horses, he gets jealous of the cat, he gets jealous of everybody. He thinks he should be part of our world.
oh my goodness.
There is something I heard from Shalene Johnson. I can't remember how long ago it was, but how they do chores in their household, and they're a big football family, so they have what they call the chores draft. And every Saturday, yes.
Mm-hmm.
The chores draft?
Huh.
I'm writing that.
Oh, no. You
both,
I don't know.
their kids are teenagers now, but every Saturday morning they have the chores that need done for the day written down on Post-it notes and sitting on the island in their kitchen. And the kids basically get to come down and negotiate and pick who's going to do which chores. So
love it.
Negotiate.
Like their daughter could do dishes all day long. She doesn't mind it. Their son, on the other hand, that's the best way to punish him is make him do dishes. So they'll negotiate back and forth. He'll take dishes, but he may take 2 other tasks in place of that just so he doesn't have to do dishes. And they negotiate it back and forth. They each take their little Post-its and away they go.
And it's fun when the kids decide, when they know that somebody doesn't like something.
And it gets back to your whole thing about, the kids working together because they have to negotiate it out themselves.
Yeah.
Right, without your intervention.
Yeah,
so
right.
it's a good skill.
When one of the kids doesn't like to do a chore,
Jeff?
the other ones pick up on it, and they'll either take that chore or they'll leave it on the board. And so it's getting closer and closer and closer. And then sometimes they'll say, well, you take 2 of these for me. I mean, they do draft pick kind of trading because we did the same thing here for a long time. And
that's really cool.
Yeah, that's what I thought you were going to say, was that they get to each take a turn.
And we would have
back
rounds because
off
we're in a
the
lot of
list.
times.
It's sort of that, and it's sort of a negotiation at the same time. It's kind of a cool concept. One of her podcasts, she goes into depth about it, but I couldn't tell you which episode without looking it up.
Well, I like that because it's not the parent then telling the child what to do, right? I mean, it gives them that autonomy and they have ownership, and because they obviously selected it, and it's a good way to remind them. It's like, well, you picked that chore, right? It wasn't given to you.
Yeah. That
sounds like a great idea. I wish I'd known that one. Too late for me, but
autonomy is important for. I mean, chores or kids are just everything, especially with our kids. But I think,
I think personality type too. I mean, I know with Carter, the less directive I am, the better off everyone is.
That's true.
He likes to be 6 years old. He likes to be in control. He has that personality. He doesn't, because then he'll want to know why. And so if I kind of phrase it where it's more of a choice he's made, it makes the world of difference with him.
That's true.
Yeah.
Absolutely.
Is that your experience?
They've got to buy
Jeff,
into it. Otherwise, it's just, otherwise we're the dictator as the parent, and they're going to do everything possible to not do that chore. We always have the implied threat. If you don't do the chore now we're on a month because we've only got 2 of them. So they have a chore for an entire month. Like kitty litter, changing the kitty litter, or something that has to be done on a frequent but not everyday basis. But if you don't do it well this month, you get it next month. When we had more of them, we were on like a weekly basis. We tried the every night, and what would happen is the dishwasher just wouldn't get loaded. It'd sit there and they'd wait for the next day and the next day. We also used a lot of peer pressure.
Yeah.
So the kids kind of leaned on each other, hey, that's your job. I'm not doing it for you.
Oh, I like that.
Wow. Yeah. And you said go ahead, Deb.
I was just going to say another thing that I always did with my kids was I made sure I didn't tie the chores to any financial gain on their part as much as I could. So in other words, they got an allowance, but it really wasn't because they did or didn't do the chores. It was because the chores were expected no matter what. And it wasn't, you're not getting, nobody gets paid to work around.
Right.
We all work here because we're
That's how my parents
And see, we worked exactly the opposite way.
Yeah, and it kind of worked well.
With the kids, we tried the allowance thing and they didn't do chores. And so then what we did is on one Christmas break, we wrote down every chore that needed to be done around the house all the time. And there was a big list with the chore and the amount that we would pay for it. And then they would, take things off that list. But then we evolved into the draft idea because there were a lot of chores that just sat there and they'd never do them. 5 of them would empty the dishwasher or, do the laundry, and no one would clean a toilet. And I hate cleaning toilets too, so I would farm that out to anybody. No Toilet Tuesday.
No Toilet Tuesday?
I would do laundry every day instead of that. I would clean the stall instead of that.
I would too. Absolutely would.
Yeah.
Although I think I shrunk a sweater like in 2005, and I haven't done laundry since.
Sorry about that, Mike.
Lindsay's back.
Phone was glitching out.
Back.
Yeah. No, but my boy, it's funny. We don't have assigned chores because they're 4 and 6, but Ethan will want to do dishes. He's always asking on his own. And then the laundry, he loves, from the wash to the dryer, then from the dryer to the basket. He's much more of the helper out of the 2. Carter, the sweeping thing, he actually, for some reason, likes that. I'm trying to think, really, that's about all that he likes to do. But I think
I like to clean windows, like I said.
Yeah, he does like to do the windows.
And Any
but
project.
It takes longer sometimes, so I have to be okay.
It's always going to take longer when they're doing.
The extra.
We have a 2-year-old that vacuums.
Yes.
It will take him all day, but it keeps him busy. We bought a lighter vacuum head so he could vacuum, and he'll do it all day long. It's kind of like a Roomba. He just walks around the room with the vacuum, but he loves it. He loves it. He was the kid who was never scared of it.
That's cool.
That's pretty. That's hilarious.
I love that. I love that.
That's hilarious.
Actually, the boys asked me once, and I was like, "No, that's okay," because I wasn't sure. But I guess now, why not?
I think they just any complicated project that I don't really want them to help with, like they want to help with. So it's like you got to figure out a creative way, like sanding the play set. Like I had my power sander out, and they're like, "Dad, can I help?" And I'm like, "I could give you this thing, and you could
give them a piece of
run away with you,
and let them work on a corner."
Yeah.
That's actually what I ended up doing.
Outside the box.
That's what I actually ended up doing, but it was too boring for them. They wanted the power tools.
Yeah.
Of course they did.
Of course.
You should have given them your little small handheld one.
Yeah. And there's the other things like, well, they could actually mess stuff
because
up
your
too.
perfect corner is going to be nicked by your kid.
Oh yeah, when it's DIY, absolutely.
Good,
he gets
good
a little
point.
obsessed
Good point.
about
I'm
that.
telling you, I'm like you in 10 years. You're going to nerd up to my level in 10 years. And then you're going to be like, oh my God, there can't be a nick.
Oh, yeah.
Wait till you're staining or, you're polyurethaning and the kid is stuck to something. Not that ever happened here, but we would admit to. But, they could have written the Tim Allen show from the way things go around our house.
Wow. I remember, I wanted to help my dad when I was a kid too. I remember he was staining the deck outside. We lived in Ohio for a little, actually, and he had, for whatever reason, he had the stain sitting on the rail. And as as a 3 or 4 year old kid, I saw it. I said, "Wow, that's gonna fall. I need to help my dad. I'm gonna take that off the rail." So I reached up, probably like this. And the whole thing, it was like direct hit on my head, a stain, and they were scrubbing for a few hours. And they were having a dinner party, which was awesome.
Dad was very calm.
Yeah,
very calm.
I think they were just blown away. Like, what just happened? Why is my son covered in stain? Roy,
oh my God!
Roy said he said he's got a cat that's adamant about being on top and in control. Okay, all right.
I'm not sure what that means, but.
Yeah.
Hey, I have a question for the all the married people with children, and that is, how does all of it how does it work as far as the husband wife thing, and when you guys don't want to do certain things, do you end up? Is that something you're very careful about not doing in front of the kids?
We just pay more.
In other words, how much of your behaviors are transferring?
We just tell the kid, I'm not joking about that.
Gotcha.
Well, and see, we're a reversed family here because I'm the one who stays at home. I raised the kids, and my wife was starting a medical practice as we started to have kids. So it was really, honey, you go off and deliver babies, and I'll take care of the stuff at home. The stuff that I hate, I just grumble and moan about, and have I passed that on very effectively. They're really good whiners and moaners, but they also do the work.
Yeah. I don't know. I just get it done. Don't I usually do the chores?
Well, the question is you asked if we don't want to do chores ourselves, how do we divvy it up and do we talk in front of the kids?
Yeah. And just, and how,
I don't think
what influence do you see of yourselves on them? Because, for example, if you are a mom, like a lot of moms are, a lot of women are, is we're doing all this stuff, and then everybody gets to go, oh, well, she doesn't need any help.
Oh, yeah.
She's so efficient. No. And she's so talented at that. So let's just walk away.
Well, Ethan, at dinner, unprompted, Ethan goes, something happened with why were we talking about food? And he goes like, oh, Daddy doesn't go to the store and buy food.
He did say that.
And I said, yeah, you're right. He doesn't do the grocery shopping. And Nick's like, well, I go pick up little things, which, we need a loaf of bread. He doesn't do the massive, grocery shopping. Mm-hmm. And then he said, oh, and Dad doesn't like toilets. He just, but we don't really ever talk about the chores. See, we don't really have house chores.
That's a very good point.
That's my question.
He doesn't, and I'm okay with as long as he keeps his stuff tidy. Like his, when he doesn't come home from work, but he used to, and he had a lunchbox, and as long as he put his lunchbox in the pantry, and many mail that he had, as long as he kept his, clothes, in which he's not messy, so clothes would be put away, and don't have much. He doesn't really have. He does more of the DIY. So like, hey, the fence needs to be pressure washed, and usually, so now he's got me using the Todoist. What is it called?
Yeah, I gave her access to Todoist
because we don't do the honeydew list. He said, please don't do that to me.
Just put it in the thing.
So now we do the Todoist, and I have to get used to it because I just get on my phone and now I can say, oh, this is what needs to get done. Like, for example, there needs to be some drywall that needs to be fixed. So he'll do that kind of stuff. And then I do mostly the inside of the house.
That's the agreement. So I think if we were to answer that question though, Deb, I think we'd resort back to let's not have expectations of what we're going to do.
Oh,
let's make agreements. Because that's been something it was kind of a powerful, aha moment or whatever. But we've been actually talking about that a lot. Like, let's not just expect anything from each other anymore. And if we're going to need something done, then it's like, what's the agreement? Like, what are we going to do?
Yes.
Yeah.
The
reason I even asked because, I have a son and a daughter, and they're now on their own. I will say this one thing is, I never, at some point, and I guess they probably were maybe middle school, I stopped doing their laundry. I said, I'm not doing your laundry anymore, and you got to figure that out.
That's why I'm on.
The other thing is, though, my daughter still thinks that she's neater and more organized than her brother, and I don't know. I do think it has to do with how he perceived his role in the household to some extent, which is unfortunate because I hate seeing guys that can't pull their own weight when it comes to that stuff. And you know what it is too? It isn't even about whether you're actually doing the chores. It's whether you're actually creating a mess.
That's true. Which is one of the things that, because the house now has all, I'm the only woman in the house. And so,
I know.
And I have friends who have 3 boys but they're older and they keep saying, they don't really, they don't help, because they're so used to somebody, the mom, kind of coming after them. And so my big thing with the boys is, one, at some point chores, but I also tell them, be mindful. What happened?
We're good.
Be mindful of the fact that, I cleaned an area. So while you didn't clean it, there's a responsibility to maintain a certain level of order or cleanliness. They have a play area, which they're very good at, usually, they don't make a huge mess. We don't have a playroom where all the toys are out ever. Sometimes they leave 3 or 4 toys around and they know that, they need to clean it up.
And this was beaten into them, actually.
Well, since they were little, we were always like, you take out a container, you play with the things in the container, you put it away, you grab the next, activity or whatever it is.
You use the term we very loosely.
No, my mom and I. Well, only because my mom watched. She raised both the, she's the nanny.
Yeah.
So she would enforce that while I was at work, because that's where I picked it up, was also from her growing up, is that, you don't need 20 toys out at the same time. You play with the one you have and you put away. And
you blame your sibling.
That begs the question, you don't even need that many toys.
Oh, gosh, yeah.
That's a whole nother conversation about, but probably, worth a mention at least that, that's another way we can be more productive, is to have less stuff.
Oh, minimalism. That's an area I guess it's kind of in the productivity space that gets focused on a lot that I really want to dive into. And I've been listening to some. Yeah.
I'll definitely be there for that conversation.
Yeah. Cause we don't necessarily practice it too much. I guess we've been talking about it a lot. Like just, okay. Yeah. You have clothes in your closet and
I just went through my closet. I just went through mine.
But even if you don't wear them, then why have them? It takes up the space.
I just got rid of bags. I looked in my closet and I realized, it's like, it seems so packed.
Yeah.
I get, there's things with tags on it. I was like, well, it's going away. And actually just told the boys, I was trying to create some buy-in. I said, you guys, we got a lot of toys, in the house. Would you agree? And they were like, yeah. And I said, so what if every time you're gifted a toy,
right?
A toy that you have around then gets gifted to someone else that's in need. And so, both of them kind of just looked at me and I said, just think about that. I said, because, we don't necessarily need, 50 cars, right? You're so many Ninja Turtles or whatever.
Yeah.
So
the one thing that I was talking to somebody recently on in a Facebook group that I'm a member of, I think it's a coaching group, and they said he put a video out there. It's like the to-do list, you know, and it said if there's stuff on that list that you don't plan on getting done within like the next, I think he said like 2 weeks, which to me seemed a little bit aggressive. He said, just let it go. He's like, just get it off your list and just forget about it. And that to me, like I started thinking about that. I'm like, yeah, well, I don't know, but that's the minimalism kind of mentality, that just get as much out of that's taking up your energy, like the things that you're going to see on a daily basis, and you're going to walk by and you're going to say, man, I got to do that sometime. I got to do that someday. Just get rid of it.
Yeah. I heard somebody talking about that today. Actually, they were doing a show about bullet journaling, and she was saying how what she does is, she gets her list from the day before. This kind of works for me because I've always been a list maker, but getting like transferring over what didn't get done to the new list, cross through everything, go start a new list. And then anything that stayed on the list for a while, just dropping it off and saying, I'm not ever going to do that.
Yeah. It just,
so
boom,
the
freedom to let it go.
Yeah.
And I know Greg talks about that. Just calling it things that you should be doing versus, what you actually need to do. Just kind of
that's kind of why I kind of changed my list so that I could try to get into this concept of I'm going off the script, but just the concept
of a script
working on one type of project at a time, because I get very overwhelmed with my list. I have ideas out the wazoo, and I just, and I probably, was those kinds of things I probably was even doing when my kids were young and at home. And part of this whole thing is creating this environment where you don't have it be high anxiety, whatever it is you're doing. It's actually like a flow thing. Like your productivity isn't like this mania. It's your lifestyle, and it's how you make your life better. And you want that to get through to your kids, right?
Definitely.
That's why you're doing all of this. You're not doing it because you're trying. First of all, you're not doing it because you're trying to beat up on them.
Yeah.
Like for you, Jeff, I don't know. I wonder about you a little bit, but what you're really doing is obviously you're training your children to be good citizens in the world. That's another really important thing. So forget the productivity for a minute. It's a byproduct to have your kids. You're creating the disciples of your family that'll go out and do the same missions, right?
It's the most important thing you can do. So, Lindsay, do you have this?
Evangelists.
Lindsay, are you a list person? Are you a list person, or are you a calendar person?
Sorry, can you say that again? I am very much a list person. I actually use an app called TikTok for managing my to-do list. And the nice thing about it is you can both create lists within it, and you can hashtag your different tasks.
It's called TikTok.
So I have
TikTok, you said?
I think 4 lists in there. One.
I actually have a list that's just all my apps that I might want to look at. At some point. I just keep
let them go, Dan. Let them go.
Well, I mean, then I don't have to look at it. If I'm looking for an app, I can.
So then that's the other thing. I'm sorry to interrupt. That's the one thing that that I was talking about in that group was like, okay, well, there's got to be some sort of differentiation between to do stuff, actions, and then just reference. Like how do you just reference things quicker, not necessarily being in action. And for me, I was thinking about, like, man, that's just almost like just a mindset shift. Is that all it would take to just clear that out? Just say, okay, well, this is no longer my task stuff. This is just stuff that I can refer to easily.
That's what I did.
That's cool. No, I like that.
I mean, that's what I did. I now have them labeled as either a to-do list or just a reference list, like movies I want to watch and stuff like that.
That's not a to-do thing. That's just if you. There.
No, although it probably would be nice to have those kind of things on my to-do list as opposed to,
conquer the world or not.
Yeah.
Go ahead.
I'm able to manage. Sorry, let me cut you off. I'm able to manage all that through TikTok because I've got 4 main lists. I've got a today, this week, this month, and a no ETA. And so under no ETA, that's got those projects that, someday I want to do it.
Yeah.
Maybe.
David Allen,
it's got a list of movies that I want to check out from the library or go buy one of these days. And just like long-term projects, we're doing a multi-year remodel in this house. So I've got projects on there that may not get touched for another year, but I don't want to forget that I've got that coming up. So it's all sitting in there. So then, all I'm ever looking at one time is the day list. And, if I empty that, then I go to the this week list. If I empty that, I go to this month. And I'm constantly shuffling between those 4 lists. But then in addition, I've got hashtags on every task to tie it to, is it a part of the remodel in the dining room, the living room, something I need to do out in the barn or with the livestock. I've got, I think, over a dozen tags. And so I've got multiple ways I can sort the list based on what I'm needing to see at any given point.
To-do-ist is similar. It's similar, like they have labels, and you have your inbox and your today, tomorrow, whatever. And I don't think you guys, Nisach had to go feed the baby. So it's just kind of like where we're at nowadays. Every 2 hours, 3 hours if we're lucky. I see Clem's on. Thanks for joining, Clem. Roy's been putting some good stuff in the chat here. Such a list have been doing mostly and keeping them in Google Keep. Google Keep. I've never heard of Google Keep. Evernote lists are too much of an undertaking for lists. Yeah, Evernote for me, I was actually trying to do lists in Evernote too because I like the little checkbox feature. It's kind of like, put the box and then check it. But it just was not manageable for me. And Trello. Yeah, Trello is actually working with a client that is on Trello and he loves it. And I think it's very visual, isn't it? I've maybe dabbled with it for like half an hour. Yeah.
It's very Kanban, so it's got the boxes and the columns and you move stuff around. It would work well, actually, Lindsay, for you, that kind of a layout, because you can move things very easily. It's like having 3x5 cards and you just drag them around. Yeah.
On that note, I do have a stack of 3x5 cards right now for our current high priority remodel projects.
That's a good idea. You could take that and you could turn them upside down and pick the top 3, and then he can pick. And you could say, "Which one do you want, honey?
Yeah,
let's do whichever one you pick is what we do first." I'm just kidding.
Well, these aren't tasks that small. These are things like rip up the dining room floor, readjust the floor joint.
Yeah. Wait, what do you guys
without
do?
prior planning?
I missed that last
like
part.
Me, there's no dining room for a week.
Just gaping holes.
Or you're just like me and have no dining room floor for a week.
Okay, you're fine. Twisted ankle limit.
Just sprain your ankle.
A couple feet down, but
got it.
Yeah, for a couple of days I had no floor.
So one thing that's kind of applicable, I'm thinking of, is just home productivity overall, not necessarily even chores, but just like things that you want to do in your leisure, like leisure productivity. So there's different things. And you mentioned index cards. That kind of got me thinking about what I've used in the past for index cards. I use index cards for language learning, like extensively. There was a time in my life where I was trying to learn like 5 different languages, and it was all, it was all index cards. And I used to sit there and,
jeez, that must have been hard.
Yeah, I don't know what my deal. Oh, I wanted to move out of the country really bad, so I just there's an opportunity that I'd move
pretty much anywhere. Was that what you were targeting?
Yeah.
Just move anywhere else.
I don't know.
It'll take me, and you're still here.
Yeah, so I'd write out one phrase in one language, and I write out in another one. Mostly Romance languages, I guess, and so like Spanish, Portuguese, French. Okay, maybe only 4. Yeah, 3 languages. Sorry, not 5. I think I might have dabbled in Italian a little bit, but anyway.
Yeah.
So, but
I'm gonna hop off. I'm gonna hop off and sit and listen and let Clem get on, because I know I can tell he's got a burning desire.
Chomping at the bit.
Feel it through the phone.
We can't.
Yeah, something like that. Well, I want everybody to have a chance.
That's a very.
So I'm not leaving.
Okay, cool. Well,
yes, I know. I'm so generous.
Thanks for joining, Deb.
Sticker.
All right, here. Oh, I know Brittany's still trying to call in, but last time I checked, I couldn't get that to work. Clem, did you hear? Deb just gave up her seat for you, so are you gonna call in? I don't know. And if Clem doesn't,
so on that note, I'll hop off. Maybe that'll help Brittany get into the seat. If someone's not occupying it.
Is that the Geico? Is that the Geico gecko, or is that just a regular gecko on your shirt?
I'll still be here.
Got it. Awesome. It matches the color of your blab, profile egg or whatever they call it.
Yeah.
Anyway, awesome. It's very fitting. So,
I didn't even notice till now.
well, thanks again for joining. All right. Well, Clem's not joining in, so we got a couple free seats. And Brittany's calling again. Brittany, I'm gonna give it another shot. Let's see if we can get you on this time. Brittany, you're with Ken, I think. Maybe you can put it in the chat, but are you guys in the country, or are you guys domestic, or are you in Costa Rica or something? I think Ken's back from Costa Rica, but I was just curious. With the connection, I thought maybe you'd be somewhere else. Oh, you're not actually with him? Okay, cool. Yeah, I just tried again. Just doesn't seem to be wanting to let you in. You were in Costa Rica. Cool. And Deb's in the chat. So Deb was one of the people that was in the group coaching, and here's Clem, program with Greg Faxon, and Deb, Brittany knows Kent. So that's a connection there. So let you know. All right, so Clem's calling in. I'm going to try again for Brittany, but there we go. All right. So saying the language learning thing.
What's going on, man?
There he is. What's up? Good to see you.
Yeah.
Good to see you in a hotel room. You're up close and personal right now.
I'm making you uncomfortable.
Yeah, really.
That's right.
Any closer and definitely you'll be in our space.
Yeah, please get out of my blab space. That's funny.
Yeah.
Welcome, College Savvy Coach. I think Saya Knight was her name. Thanks for joining. And a lot of people have been checking us out, so appreciate that. If any of you want to call in, come on. Saya, if you want to, is your name Saya? I don't know, but feel free to call in if you want to, if you're comfortable. It's always kind of crazy, like calling into a random lab. You don't know anybody. That's it's really. I love when people do it though, because it's so cool. Like who's gonna call in? But yeah, Clem, what's your thoughts on chores? You're a home productivity guy. That's your shtick, right?
It's part of my reality. Chores. You know, it is what it is.
You probably missed the original part of the content, but we're talking about how do you get your kids involved with doing chores. And like Jeff and I were talking about, so I interviewed Jeff today for the Make Snappy Productivity Show, and he's got some really, really innovative stuff for getting kids involved with chores and just home routine stuff overall, which is fascinating to me. But we talked about like it's an investment in time, right? It takes longer if you're going to get your kids involved because you got to explain stuff and you got to stop and you got to see if they're doing it right. But long term, there's nothing but benefits because you're teaching them new skills, and then eventually you probably save yourself time because they could do the things long term that. Pronounced Sia. Sorry about that, Sia. But yeah, and she probably gets it all the time. So I was one of the annoying guys that called her by their own name. But yeah, so it's like long term, you could actually turn those things over. You could actually outsource those tasks to your kids if you invest the time up front. But if you keep doing it for them and just keep like putting them in front of TV while you're trying to get stuff done around the house, then that doesn't really benefit anybody. All it is like an annoyance, and you're just kind of living. It's like working on your business versus just in it, like working on your life versus just in it, right? Yeah. So bringing it full circle back to the productivity thing.
I know I was listening to your episode with Nisach, or how was it pronounced? Nizach.
Did I do that? Did I really do that?
Out on it too.
We've only been together for 15, 16, 17 years, whatever.
But she was talking about the list.
Still can't get it right.
She has for the boys. With the dry erase board and everything. And I actually put, so CJ has his iPod, and I put a to-do list where every morning he has to wait, when he wakes up, his like 20 items that he has to go through. And I think item number 3 or item number 4, like after praying and making up his bed, is to let me know that he's awake. So if I'm home, then it's him letting me know I'm awake. Or if I'm on the road, he needs to call me in the morning to let me know that he's awake, and then he can go on to his next steps. And it's just part of that whole process of not having him wander around the house and looking for me to tell.
That's his routine. You put that on the iPad. That's amazing. You're frozen on my screen right now. I'm just not sure if Clem's
what he needs to do.
There he is.
Right.
Can you hear me? You back? Yeah. Hey, Roy. How you doing, man? Looks like we got audio only for Roy. Doing great, man. Thanks for joining. No, but I'm curious. So that's for like a routine, right? That's not like a to do. Like you're not giving him one and out tasks, like 21. This is what he needs to do, step by step every morning. Is that what you're saying? Clem?
Yeah. So like step one is after he wakes up. Step one is like pray. Then step two is make his bed. Step three is to let me know he's awake. Step four is to figure out what he wants for breakfast. Step five is pick out his clothes for the day, then to make his lunch. So, little things like that. But that's like teaching him responsibility. Because I don't want to necessarily have him doing the dishes. Another step is to open the blinds.
You're really breaking it down.
Have the blinds closed.
Wow. That's very Jeff Page of you, actually.
Yeah. Well, you have to, though. Because you can't tell a kid necessarily,
right.
I mean, depending on their age, get dressed.
Right.
Because you will end up with anything. So you have to say, pick out your clothes. And I mean, we were to the point where sometimes they would send us the picture of the clothes first.
What?
And it's like, okay, you can wear that outside of the house. Not because it was inappropriate, but because it was just like, 5 different superhero things.
Yeah.
And it's just like, no, just pick one.
It's like I heard a comedy routine or something about like, telling his kids like, take a shower, get dressed. And then he's like, inevitably, he'd have his kid soaking wet trying to put his pajamas on. And he can't get him up, And he's like, oh, I forgot to tell him to dry off, So that guy like just really breaking it down step by step. Like it's.
And Clem, I'm with you on the blinds. I hate it when they don't open them.
Yeah.
When you come back to the house, it's 4 p.m. and all the blinds are closed.
Yeah,
it's like,
definitely. So Robert E. Lewis, thanks for joining, man. Appreciate it. It looks like Clem dropped off, but Brittany was asking about how to work on the business with kids at home and not out in front of the screen. I am on the computer a lot and feel a bit like a hypocrite not wanting him to watch while I'm working. So that's a really interesting point. And it's like everybody's dynamics are different. But Jeff, you might be a good person to answer that because you're on the computer a lot and you have Tristan there all the time. Like if you move a little bit to the right, you can see his play stuff down there or whatever that is. Yeah. So
we have the mess in the house.
You want to take that one?
Yeah, one of the things that we do a lot of is we work in really short segments.
Yeah.
So I'll work for like 15 minutes. And I'm also constantly, Tristan is 2. He's my grandson. I watch him full time.
Right.
He lives with us. And so I'll say, Tristan, I'm going to go work for a little bit, and he'll go play. He plays here in the office, and then he'll come up to me. And in fact, he did it while we were on our call today. He pulls on my shorts and he says, play me. Everything's 2 words.
Yeah.
So he's play me, and then I'll get down for 10 or 15 minutes and play with them and then get back on the computer. So my life is these little tiny segments of time. It's absolutely crazy. And it's really hard to switch gears, but it seems to work for us a lot of the time.
And I definitely agree with what you're saying. I think the one thing that works for me with my kids, Brittany, is just being very clear. Like when I'm in the middle of something with them and I get a text or I get, for some reason, have this idea that I got to get on my phone and do something, that's when they get upset, when it's just like when they're kind of blindsided by it. But a lot of times when it comes to that sort of stuff with the business and just like things I need to work on it and I'm actually with them at the time, I'll say, hey guys, Dad's got to check this real quick. I'll take about 2 minutes. I promise I'll get back to you on it. But from your perspective, it sounds like you're talking about more extensive time. So for something like that, like if your kid's there all the time, I'm getting a mad echo. Maybe I should find my hands-free stuff. But when you're looking at like, I don't know which situation, if he's always there when you're working, like in your business constantly, then I guess the agreement would be that, okay, well, there's got to be a certain time for him and a certain time for you work in the business. It's just agreed on up front. I don't know maybe you can just elaborate a little bit on what your situation's like. Is it just you talking about just kind of onesie twosie type stuff? But the Pomodoro approach. Okay. So you got a little productivity. You're read up on the productivity stuff. That's cool. Of
course, I would kill for 25 solid minutes to work because mine's closer to 10 to 15.
You could still do Pomodoros at 10 to 15, no?
Yeah.
Well, yeah, but you never know when you're
switching gears so much. much.
And you never know when you're going to
get that's the other thing. I don't
It's
know.
all a chance type thing. So I think it just comes down to setting up the infrastructure, your support system, childcare, whatever it is, that you can spend sufficient time doing the things you need to do to run your business without making your kid feeling bad about it. So 3 to 5 full days you're with your son. And like, just so would you, and I guess ideally maybe we would all want to spend 3 to 5 full days like solid with our kids, but for you, is that what you want to do, Brittany, or is it something that you'd rather be working, you just kind of feel guilty sort of thing? I'm just curious. Setting up a childcare swap in the community, that's actually a really good idea if you got people
it's exhausting.
Yeah.
It is exhausting to be switching modes, all day long for 12 hours a day. And I mean, it depends on the age of the kid, but when you have a 2-year-old who's your boss, I mean, you have to do it.
Yeah. Then how do you set that infrastructure up in your life to get you that time that you need? So for your business, Brittany, and I it sounds like you're in POP, so I see a lot of the things that you're posting and stuff. So I think you're naturally a pretty productive person. But I would think that if you know what it takes, like how long you need to work on your business, and just basically what do you want to get done on a day in, weekly, monthly, quarterly kind of thing, planning out like the hours you think is appropriate, and then figuring out a way to set up that system to where you can work at least those hours and then tweak along the way. So I think the childcare swap thing would be a really, really good idea. And that way it's not an issue, like it's you get done what you set it up to where that time is yours and there's not going to be interruptions. For me, I don't know how you do it. I think Chazelle was on here a little while ago, and she's kind of same kind of way. She tries to squeeze it in, but the uncertainty for me would just I'd really struggle with that. So I would just be an advocate for how do you set up systems that have a little bit more certainty. So she's saying staying up late after he sleeps is like 2 or 3 in the morning. That's why I accept your challenge. I understand that. I've done the late night thing too when I was working full time and trying to start the side hustle. That can drain you really quick, and I'm sure you know that already. So it might be just taking a chance and investing in like you said, the childcare system or whatever you can do to make it a little bit more certain.
And you can adapt. Yeah. I mean, it's hard. I was, super type A, and then I started watching all of my kids, and it was, eventually the kids get into a mode where they will give you some time to work, but when they need you, they need you, and you have to decide what the priority is to you at that time.
Yeah. And that's what I respect about you is like, the business is second. Your highest priority is kids, and you're going to be all in regardless of what it takes. So everything else just comes in I think mentally you just accepted that position in life. And it's not something you're willing to sacrifice. So there's nothing wrong with that either. I mean, everybody's got to put the personal back in personal productivity, I think. Dr. Corey.
Well, and trust me, the season ends so fast. This season of life ends. I mean,
you can't.
You're going to wish that your kids were little again.
I could totally see that too, because I was just thinking about that. My son was asking me, well, how old? He asked his younger brother. He's 2 years older than his younger brother. His younger brother's asking him or something. He goes, well, when you're 20, how old will I be? And Carter's thinking, he's like, okay, 20 minus 2 is 18. And then he goes like, Daddy, well, how old will you be? And I was like, oh, it's coming quick. It's like 20. We're not going to be in my 30s forever. So let me see. I just want to say, Dr. Corey, thanks for joining. And Lindsay's giving you a little bit of rise in there with Notre Dame. Yeah. That's cool.
You guys can beat your drum all you want. I don't really.
Trying to switch to get up early. Morning routine to set my day. Yeah, I think that I'm also an advocate of not fighting that natural body clock. But if you have one that's competing with your son, then that would be rough. So if your son's a morning person and you're not, or vice versa, how would you find that balance? Maybe the middle of the day is where you get all your stuff done. That's interesting. But I think you just testing the systems that work. It's all about continuous improvement and process, looking at the process and just continuous to tweak it from my perspective. I don't know. What do you guys think? Roy, what do you think?
Well, a lot of this talk about the systematizing and training train the kids to actually function on a list type format just makes me wonder if any of them are so tasked with maybe some activities that force them to have to think for themselves or improvise. Because I was reading an article once where I think it was the Army or Marines, they actually had that as an exercise where everything that they were trained to do all of a sudden gets turned up on its head, and they have to improvise in order to function. So it's more like fluid type memory, or being able to solve problems in a quick fashion. So I don't know if.
Well, and some of what you have to do with the kids too is, you can outline what they need to do, but the goal is to get them, like you're saying, to think for themselves. So you look for the outcome. I want the blinds up at the end of the day. Eventually, you're not going to have to tell them that step by step by step. When they're little, you do, but then over time, they start to, we want dinner on the table. You can say that at some point. You just can't say that when they're 4.
Okay.
You can, but it doesn't work.
And that's why I use for CJ. That's why I use sports. He enjoys playing baseball, and he has understands the fundamentals of throwing and hitting and different scenarios. Because it's like chess in a way. And if the ball is hit here, we've got to run it here. Where is the ball going? It's just a matter of understanding. I like to always teach him life lessons through his sports, as far as, okay, if you've got a situation where this is happening to you in your life, how are you going to handle that? What steps do you need to take with the fundamentals you already have, the knowledge point that you already understand, to figure out how to solve this problem? How are you going to get that man out?
Yeah. Or skate to where the puck is going to be.
Mm-hmm. If you're a hockey guy.
Think one step ahead. Yeah, I'm not a hockey guy, but I love that quote by Wayne Gretzky, But it's the same, it's, post up, and when you move, know where the ball's going to be. Yeah. So you can get that.
That's any sport, right? Yeah, you got to anticipate where the receiver is going to be when you're throwing a foot pass.
Yeah, and that's where the kids need to be thinking a step ahead.
Yeah, and that goes to the mindfulness piece. That's that's the part that's difficult to, I guess, learn mindfulness. And I've actually been trying a little bit, where there's just little things that I'll do throughout the day. And this guy, I guess, maybe go to the home stuff. So like the coffee ran out. Like we have like a thing of coffee, it's almost like a Kanban system where we have the package of coffee, and then we have like the the thing is easy. Like you actually like a bin or whatever. And Sash did all this, so whatever. It looks prettier, I guess.
Hey, it's all organized and neat.
Yeah, it's all organized and neat. And so, making coffee, and it's like, okay, it's the last scoop. So I'm like, from a mindfulness perspective, the coffee's done. I don't need it right now. I could just leave it empty. Or I could think, okay, well, wait a second. If I don't do this now, Miss Ash's going to see it. She might get kind of pissed about it because, look, this lazy guy not doing it. So I'm starting to think about like one step ahead. What's like these? Am I cutting corners anywhere in my life? And can I do something to mitigate that? And that's not something you can really plan out. It does just kind of happen along the way. So.
You mean, will I get caught by my wife?
No.
That's what you just said.
No, Jeff. No, Jeff.
It's okay. She's not going to watch the replay.
Becca Bergen, thanks for joining. Tommy Willis, awesome to have you guys on. Girls on.
How can
what's up?
How can I prevent argument?
Yes, that is mindfulness.
Exactly.
As a matter of fact. So, Bruce Langford, I think I've told you about Bruce, and he's got a podcast called The Mindfulness Mode. And thanks, Deb. And he's like, he's asking me to be on a show. I'm like, Bruce, I'm like, all the things that I'm a productive guy, but mindfulness is like, that's my challenge, like being present in the moment and not always having the mind going. It's tough for me. Like that's a mode, but I've been working on it. But then he goes, well, no, it's not just about that. It's also about, okay, well, really going back to what's the purpose. I'm like, okay, well, I can talk about that at least. So I think the mindfulness has so many different facets to it that, it's a complicated topic enough to have a whole podcast for hundreds of episodes about. So, but it's something that fascinates me.
Well, and teaching your kids about that, because that is not a concept that we see in school. I mean, they're not taught finances. They're not taught mindfulness.
Productivity.
All these life skills that you need.
No, it's like you learn the material, but you don't get taught how to learn the material, how to plan it through. Like that's just all stuff that you learn kind of on the job or whatever.
Yeah, mostly they're just told the results they're expected.
You're right. And then you
exactly
figure out ways to just focus on the results. So now we're going to get in the education system and how that's all set up and everything. So that's not a can that I want to crack open tonight. But
that'd be a couple of hours.
That would be definitely. But man, we had an awesome discussion. Really. It is 10:06. We're 6 minutes over time. Although I switched it up, I'm not sure if I confused anybody. I was starting to do it 8:45, and then that was just a weird time to start, and I couldn't really necessarily get started on a clean. I said, okay, I'm just going to do 9:00 and cut the the open discussion to 45 minutes. But that's okay, right? Like it was all right? You don't need a full hour.
Yeah. You got to start at the top of the hour. It was to try to get here early.
When I came on there, I was like, why isn't he going already?
Yeah, why isn't he opening up the floor? I don't listen to his content. I forced you to listen to my first 10 minutes, Roy. You had to actually listen this time instead of having to get caught up on the back end. So everybody that's watching, thanks so much for joining every Wednesday night at 9:00. I'm not going to say 8:45 anymore because that's done. 9:00, blab.im/The Snappy Show. And my podcast called the Make It Snappy Productivity Show. 2 episodes a week every Tuesday and Thursday nights. Jeff, Roy, anybody on, if you guys want to do like a little out who you are or whatever, that's cool. Go ahead. Sign off sort of thing.
I'm Hectic Dad 01 on Twitter. I'm also on Instagram as Hectic Dad without the 01.
Fantastic. And Roy?
I'm Roy Stegman. I'm the complete audio producer. That's my podcast. And I guess people that want to contact me, my Twitter handle is Roy's Apple.
Cool deal. Well, anybody that's on, most of the people that are on the Blab are part of the closed Facebook community, but if you guys are productivity enthusiasts and you want a highly engaged group, then check out Productivity on Purpose. Just send me a request to join. I'll let you in. It's POP. So I'm Nick Snap. We got the Pop, and Jeff is Crackle, right? No, maybe? Okay. I forgot to tell you guys. Did you see the post? So I connected with this guy real quick. I don't want to diverge too much, but I'm excited about it. So I found, I don't know, I think I just searched for Snappy on Twitter. So I found this guy named Snappy Jit, J-I-T. He's like a rapper. He's an audio producer. He's got some he had this song called Rice Krispie, right?
Yeah, I saw that post.
It's a ridiculous song. Like it's so ridiculous. But the whole song he's saying pop, like, keep it popping. He's like, pop it, baby. All this pop stuff. I'm like, this is perfect. So I'm like, dude, I gotta use you on my podcast. Is that cool? He's like, yeah, use whatever song you want. I'm like, awesome. So Snappy Jit.
Probably Snappy
Productivity Show, our partner.
Yeah. If he's British.
Git.
If he's British, it's Snappy Git.
Well, I thought it was JIT.
Yeah. Really?
That he was.
JIT, then it'd be Jit. I thought you said G.
Yeah,
sorry.
That's what I was thinking when I heard about the GitHub or GitHub or software development.
Yeah.
Got it. So I'm going to reach out to anybody who's got Snappy in their name. I'm just going to figure out some sort of way to incorporate them with the shows. It's just fun. It's just cool like that. Anyway, but thanks guys for joining. Next week, Wednesday, we'll talk to you then.
Awesome.
All right. Good night. Thanks, Vlad. Thanks. All right.
Make it great, guys.